I'm Sheek.
I'm Joel, and this is a short print. Welcome back, everyone. It's been a minute, maybe more than a minute, but we're back again with another episode. Today we have an iconic set for you that many of you probably have an attachment to who love their 90s cards. This one is 1997 to 98 Skybox Z-Force.
And Joel, are we going to be talking about Series 1, Series 2, or both? Which one do you want to talk about?
It's going to be Series 1 and Series 2 because they both had some important inserts. I did not realize all the nuances between the two products until researching for this, even though I ripped, a good amount of this when it came out.
Nice.
So I guess a few thoughts. I mean, when you hear of 1997 to 98 Skybox Z-Force, what comes to your mind first and foremost?
Probably just because I like the insert a lot. I know a lot of people may say big men on court, but to me, I still believe Rave Reviews is just a shiner, man. It's just beautiful.
Yeah, so Rave Reviews is one of the prettiest inserts in my opinion out of that product. It had that nice holofoil shine to it. It looked die cut and it wasn't die cut. That particular insert was 1 in 288 packs, so that was probably the hit of Series 1 outside of getting a Rave.
So just going through interesting in this.
Yeah.
So the Beckett magazine claimed that it's 1 in every 60 to 80 packs for a Rave Review or a BMOC. And when you look at it, that equated to about 400 per.
Yeah.
But when you look at the pop reports, it doesn't make sense. It means that a lot of people had to regrade it, but I don't think that's the case. And it's starting to look like there's a lot more than 400. I'm not saying there's anything fraudulent, but essentially it is like it's the rarest of the cards that are on there, and it's kind of crazy the difference. Like it's crazy post-COVID that they have still the same amount of importance. When you were like collecting it, and when you were going up through your collecting journey in the 2000s, right? Were people talking about the cards here in this set? Was it something that people wanted?
I remember this particular year being edgy, and it was in that time period of when products are trying to be a little bit more innovative. And a few of the inserts in here in Series 1, one in particular that caught my eye, and it wasn't that hard to pull, was Fast Tracks. The lettering on the Fast Tracks had like a felt kind of feel to it, and that was in Series 1, 1 in 24 packs. And in general, I think what caught people's eye was all the technology that was being used. So I believe when you had Boss and Super Boss, the word Boss and Super Boss on Boss was embossed, right? On Super Boss, the word Boss was embossed, and it was more of a foil type finish to the card. And it really shined, really popped out.
I would say so, to me also the total impact was very that was a good one for me because I don't know, maybe it's just my collecting journey, Joel, but I really go towards shiny, and I don't know why I can't go and appreciate cards that are not shiny, because there are a lot of rare cards in our industry that are normal. Like it doesn't have a holofoil, it doesn't have that technology, but I can't seem to get there for some reason.
To me, I've been struggling with this idea of what makes me love like some of these 90s inserts versus cards today, when I think cards today look good. And I think I brought up before about I love embossed technology.
Yeah.
And this set definitely has that. But I think the other thing really comes down to the pack odds. The fact that I could look at the back of the pack and it tells me exactly like, okay, so in this case, or if in 10 cases, there might be a chance this card and is published, right? I think today with Panini, with serial numbering, I feel like there's too much mystery, or they're trying to create this false mystery in the sense that they don't just give you odds of, how hard is it to pull this pink ice insert, right? Or whatever it is.
So let's go off what you're talking about. And I've been seeing a lot of stories on Instagram talking about the virtual cards. right? Panini's got the blockchain cards, and I can't get into it, but I get why people want to. But I'm seeing like posts of people pulling it, and then on the blockchain on Panini's site, it's showing you how many are remaining in packs. Now that is extremely intriguing. If something
Mm-hmm.
down the road where we find out that there are, say, let's call it a gold chrome refractor number to 50, and you
Mm-hmm.
have a chance to register your gold chrome refractor, maybe you get something in return for doing that, something small, but then it kind of like showcases, hey, there's only been 19 out of the 50 not reported out there in existence. That could save box prices. That could also cause people to be like, I want to go get the remaining 19. That's a huge volume left. I think that would be kind of unique.
Yeah, I think that's actually a really cool idea to incentivize ripping and to incentivize people who do rip to log their information, right? And give them something, give them a carrot. That's a great idea. And
Yeah,
I keep that one. I like
I'm,
that.
I'm gonna keep
No,
that one.
it's
It just came to me on the top of my head. You know what? Okay, while we're talking about this, there's another thing that's not happening in today's world for cards, unless if someone wants to comment, DM us. I don't know the answer to this, but I'm seeing cards in the 90s have like I relate it to when like we were looking at flooring in our townhouse to replace, and they were talking to us about what design you want. And the one thing that people talk about is it's supposed to be something you're supposed to feel, but now it's something you can look, and that is texture. So before you were able to feel the texture, now people want the smoothness and to see the texture. So,
hmm
and I look at 90s cards and I see there might be a lot more stuff going on in the background with design, but I see the texture. But when I look at the cards today, I don't see that. I almost wonder if people feel like it's too busy, right? Texture cards with borders, I don't think are working. If you're borderless and have a texture card, it's going to work. And I don't think we see a lot of that right now going on. Do you want to? This leads me into like my pickup. Should we go there, or should we? You want to stay on this topic?
Well, let's at least get through the set, and then we're gonna go to pickups. We talked about the boss. Boss inserts were 1 in 6. Super Boss in Series 1 was 1 in 36. So basically one, I believe, one in a box and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah, box, a box and a half. And then, as Kaushik mentioned in Series 1, you had the Total Impact insert, which that one didn't really resonate with me too much, maybe because I never really pulled one. Whereas my friends and I were ripping, I think I attached to the boss, and the Super Boss is almost like the most difficult tier that we could get in the few packs that we could afford in the lunch money. I didn't even think about there being retail aspect to this product, but this was introduced to me just now going through it today, like looking at the odds that there was a retail insert limited access. I don't think I've ever seen a limited
Never
access.
seen it. And
Yeah.
what does retail back then mean? Like Kmart?
Yeah, like literally like in if you go to like Kmart or yeah, or whatever Jewel in the Midwest, right? You would go there and they have this jewel case and you
Yeah.
literally pick your packs out of this jewel case that they have out
Such a
there.
simpler time back then.
Yeah. Right. And then, of course, Fast Track, which was one of my favorites from Series 1. I think I need to get a Kobe. For some reason, the Kobe Fast Track always sticks in my mind with that felt Fast Track
Mm-hmm.
lettering on it. Something different. You don't see that very often today. And then, of course, in Series 1 was the Rave Reviews, which was probably the best insert in Series 1. Now, Series 2, a few of the things I just want to point out before we move on was Sensations, which is 1 in 6. And this was a
Mm-hmm.
more rookie focused set. The funny one was Debut,
Oh
was what
yeah.
it was called at the time, which was 1 in 24, and it's a set focused around the rookies. But I'll tell you this: at the time, in my head, I always called it Z-Butt, right? Because I looked at it, and that was the first thing I saw. It was like Z-Butt. And I was like, "Oh, Debut." So and it helped being a teenager at the time. Z-Butt sounded better, so we called the Z-Butt insert. Um, Stargazing. Once again, there was a 1 in 18 retail inserts in
Yep.
Series 2. Right, and this was kind of like the less appealing slam cam in this one. So this one
I
had
didn't
like
like
more of
it.
a it has just like a black background on it. But I do own the Jordan, Duncan, and Shaq slam cam from the set only because once again it was one of the attainable inserts that my friends and I could pull. So that I have some attachment to that set just because It
Well,
literally reminds me of the simpler times.
isn't the Zabu also kind of dark?
Yeah, it's also a dark background. So Series 2
Yeah.
had more of the dark background. Here's a nuance you may not know that I didn't know until I researched this today.
Mm-hmm.
In Series 1, you could only pull Rave. In Series 2 is when you could get the Super Rave. And it was
I
only
didn't know that.
yeah, so apparently, and I got to do a little more research. This is according to some of the research I've done. Super Rave was only available for cards 111 to 208, which represented Series 2. So
Wow.
there was only Rave for cards 1 to 110. It was crazy. So we can fact check that later, but that's what I read about and what seems to be out there on this product, which I had no clue at the time. I just remember knowing that I could pull a Rave or a Super Rave. And here's another insert. It seemed like Series 2 had some of the stronger inserts that hit more today. So Quick Strike, that immediately I think of the Jordan Quick Strike and how beautiful those cards are.
Yes.
With like basically the plastic middle, the center,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then you have the silver edges around it. And that really used the layers to its benefit, where you had the foil cardboard surrounding the center medallion almost in plastic with the Quick Strike lettering. Great looking card. And that's one I definitely need, actually, now that I'm looking at it. And of course, one of the big ones, Big Man on Court. Which
why do people like that? I don't know.
I think I think what year was it was actually better looking. This particular year was kind of like black and
is it just me, or do the cards look like they're just like, I don't know if it's like yellowing, but it just doesn't look like the card is all there. Almost looks like
hazy.
a misprinted card to me.
It's like hazy, right?
Yeah,
and I think it's because it's layered. And I think that's why. I think there is a little bit of lenticular technology to it, which makes it a little bit hazy, so you can kind of move it back and forth. I think that's what they were going for, but it's just the colors are too drab for the time. And
I also think that the card would have popped more if Jordan was in his red Bulls jersey. So you know what? At National, right, we're gonna have to buy a couple boxes of like cool stuff and maybe rip it there like live.
That'd be amazing. For me, when I think back on this set, I think once again nostalgia hit set. That time period for me was kind of a precious time for me, and I think the inserts I'm attached to most were actually the 1 in 36 for me because they were attainable. But I think on the back end, I love Rave reviews, the Raves and Super Rave. To me, Rave and Super Rave were very simple cards, but the only reason I love it is because of how unattainable they were. And I think they were. And that's really what resonates today.
Would you say Rave reviews might be one of the first cards that gave that cracked ice kind of look?
I think so. I mean, to me, when I look at it, it pops the same way cards pop today.
Okay. So let's move to pickups.
All right. Do you want me to go first?
Go for it.
You want to go first?
Yeah.
I got a few. And so it's kind of fun. I'm back to doing a few pickups. I think a few in particular. This one, I'm sure me and 80,000 other people own, but this card is actually really sick in person. But this is the 40,000 point LeBron Tops Now card.
Okay.
And it was surprisingly shiny. I was actually kind of shocked.
Holofoil. Yeah,
so it's got a holofoil, and every single card has holofoil, which I was not expecting when I ordered it, but it was a really nice surprise. This thing is actually really sweet.
Dude, Tops Now is interesting. Very, very interesting. I wonder what, I don't know. I think if they did Tops Now based on the products that were being released, that would be cool.
Yeah. Well, who knows how they can change it. I'm sure they'll adapt a bit coming up. So another pickup I got, I actually joined. I picked 3 things just because they all kind of represent different things that I'm kind of doing right now. I actually joined my first group break on Loop. I used my PSA credit that's been sitting in Loop forever.
Loop.
Yeah, I used my Loop credit finally, and I used it on Transcendent. So I took one spot, and I ended up with this Jimmy Rollins out of 5. Doesn't pay for the spot, but is a cool card. And Jimmy Rollins got a sweet auto. Last pickup. This one's actually a cool one. I saw these starting to pop up. I actually caught this right when they started hitting eBay. And then Jeff Wilson put out a video about it afterwards. So I feel like I caught it before him. But I don't know if you saw these employee Connor Bedard autos.
It was Upper Deck employee given or something like that.
Yep. So these are the employee autos. This one I just got from eBay authentication. It took forever to get through eBay authentication. But this thing is awesome.
Hey, let's talk about eBay authentication for a second. Do you know how that works right now? Like, did you know?
It's going to what, CGC?
I don't know what it's doing for Raw, but did you know that like PSA slabs, I think they're going to PSA's facility and
Yeah.
then they're coming to the customer. The reason I know that is I live out here in California. I live like 30 minutes from PSA headquarters. And I saw my slabbed card. I had like a Pau Gasol card that I bought recently, and I saw it go all the way to Santa Ana in California
Hmm.
where they are. And then I saw it come to me. So I'm like, what, it can be coincidence as going to Santa Ana. So I think maybe the authentication program is choosing based on the card type where it goes.
Yeah, it could. I've noticed that too with the Santa Ana on graded cards.
Yeah.
And Raw, I think, go to, I believe it's not CGC.
So they're like got relationships with a lot of different places. eBay does. So actually for me, I actually went to like an estate sale. I got the call, and I went out there. I drove about like 50 minutes to go, and man, there were just boxes and boxes and boxes of stuff. Um I'll post a photo on this pod so you can see it. But essentially a lot of junk, and just like, not like, you wish they would be penny cards. They're not penny cards. They're like, the overproduced junk wax era pretty much. But I found one 4 row that I was like, okay, there's some promise here, there's a chance here. And I only went through like maybe 100 cards and was like, oh, these are players I know. So let me just put this aside. So I put it aside. There are a couple of other things like Super Nintendo had like sealed packs back in the day. I got a few of those. But essentially, the boxes had been vetted because I was there for 2 hours. I never saw LeBron James. I never saw Kobe Bryant. I never saw Michael Jordan. And if you have that many boxes, and if I go through a lot of those boxes and I'm not seeing any of the stars like that, and I'm thinking even about baseball, like I'm
Hmm.
not finding like stars in the baseball world either. I'm not seeing Mark McGuire. I'm not seeing, Barry Bonds. I'm not seeing those players. So I know that they've been kind of vetted. But in this box, right? It's a 4 row, so like, 5,000 cards. I think I got this card because they didn't know what they had. Okay. So, right, what did I tell you? No MJ, no Kobe, no LeBron in any of these boxes. And there's over 200 of these boxes, by the way, of
Jeez.
just 4 rows and stuff. So much stuff. So, in my last section of this, I knew what to look for because, I've collected for a long time. I found a top crop, Gary Payton.
Oh,
You
wow.
know what's on the back of that card? A Michael Jordan.
Wow.
So this is about $100 card, and it's got a ding corner, but whatever. This right here, I'm not gonna like make a ton of money, but this made my trip for me, knowing that someone didn't realize that Michael Jordan. I literally went through thousands of cards, and I could not find a Michael Jordan. I didn't even find this when I was there. I found this when I got home, and when I got home, I was like, "Oh my gosh!" I started seeing all the top crops, and I'm like, "Where's Gary Payton? I need to find the Gary
Hmm.
Payton." And there it was. So then Michael Jordan's on the back. I
Now,
thought
how
that
do you
was,
slab that? Do you get that slab with Jordan on front?
I don't know how that works. I don't think they allow you to do that. I actually think it has to be Peyton on the front.
Yeah, I think they would just say they would say, but I bet you there's some out there that they either messed up or done by request years ago. Maybe today they wouldn't allow you to do that anymore.
Now, this is a cool card. It reminds me a little bit, if you know of Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning has an interstate card, and it's got like the map on the back and location and things like that.
You're talking about like the Bowman parallels, the Bowman
Yeah,
Interstate.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Because this is like a map of America on the back. I think this is like West Coast. This is East Coast. But
that's pretty
listen,
sweet.
this made my trip because it's the fact that like the guy, whoever came in there, cleared out all the good cards. And then there was one more pickup that I found that I thought was kind of interesting, and I just picked up the stack. I didn't even look in the stack, but I found this too. This is 1998 Topps Super Chrome, and then they're the 5x7s. Literally, so many. Tony Gwynn. Finally, I found some Tony Gwynn. Some World Series cards. What else did I find? Oh! I did find the first time when I got home a Mark McGwire. So listen, these cards are not worth a lot, but actually I've been seeing more popularity of this. Like this might be something I would put on my table at a local show. Somebody for their card shop may want to pick one of these up and take the whole stack. That's kind of how I see it. The refractors are very expensive. Like a Frank Thomas refractor would go for like $20-$30. There's I think only one refractor in here, and I think it's like a no-name player. It is Javi Lopez, which I have no idea who the hell that is. But those were my pickups from the estate sale. I thought that was super fun. I also got.
Did you say how much the it was for all those 4 rows?
Yeah, so for the 4 rows and for this, he asked for $40. And
sweet.
Yeah, he asked for $40 for all that. And then I don't know if I have it here with me. It might be in my car. But he had some books, some old school books. So I picked up just for shits and giggles, I picked up a 90s Beckett magazine that showed like all the prices, which was really cool. Mm-hmm. And then there was another book called The Jordan Rules. It was like a New York Times bestseller in the 90s. So I picked that book up because he just, what are they going to do with the book? And then the only last thing I can think of is I picked up 2 sealed boxes of I think it was 86 football, something like that. I don't know what I'm going to do. Maybe I'll rip it. Maybe I won't. I don't know. They're like $10-$15, man. And I just literally, I just want to pick it because I went through a whole phase where I was ripping cheap boxes and I haven't been ripping cheap boxes for a while, and I miss ripping a little bit. You know what's shocking, man? And I'm starting to realize it as I'm bidding against, I think, super collectors, which bidding against super collectors is not fun, let me tell you, because you think you go in with this logic in an auction and you tell yourself, I'm going to bid for the record. Guess what the super collector thinks? No, you're not. I'm going to bid for the record. So what I'm facing sometimes in some of the cards that I'm bidding on, Joel, is I'm having to beat out the super collector. We both already have established in our mind we're going to set the record for a comp for a card. And I don't think it's bothering us. It's literally like, we don't care that the card sold 8 months ago for $100. We will buy it right here on the spot for $250. Keep going. Right. Keep going. It's crazy to me on the lower end like that, on some rare cards. I'm just facing these issues, and I used to in the past just walk away. And I was like, let me let the super collector have it. I know somebody will post it on Instagram and be like, congrats and stuff. I'm almost now coming to a point where I'm like, you guys might not ever release the card. So I don't know how many more years I'll have to wait to get it, and I'm just going to overpay for it now.
Yeah, I think if it's the right level of scarcity and you can really justify something in your mind that you want it and understand the reasons why, I think that's definitely an opportunity to pull that move. Dare I throw out the word mega bid?
Guess what? You know what? That's not my strategy, though. I don't like the mega bid. That's not me. You know what I like to do? I'm going to open up my strategy to everyone so that, and feel free to try it out and let me know what you think. So when we get into an auction and I'm bidding, I don't know, it could be an extended bidding somewhere. It could be regular bidding on eBay, whatever. Extended bidding is probably the best. This works for that. When we get to extended bidding, okay, I'll bid, but if someone else bids ahead of me, my goal, if it's a card I really want, is to bid almost as fast as I can after you bid. The next bid. So for instance, we have a card that's like $100 and the next bid's 105. The other person that I'm fighting with on the card bids 105. I'll immediately put 110. I have a number in my mind I'm willing to go to. Maybe it's 175. Let's call it that. And then every time, I won't bid again. I won't even give it an extra, like 120. I won't even do that. Every time they bid, I'll bid again. Now, some would say, okay, maybe you should just bid 150, and then every time they bid, your new bid comes in. No, I don't like it like that. If I'm attentive, Joel, I want to bid only after they bid so that they realize I'm here. I'm not a robot giving you an auto max bid. I'm here and I'm going to fight with you to get this card to make them think, shit, this guy really wants this thing. And so, how far are you willing to go? And so, every time you bid, I'm going to bid again on top. Every time you bid, I'm going to bid again on top. And then usually they kind of cave, to be frank.
Yeah, they move on. So, are you doing this? You're doing this in extended bidding?
I think this is my extended bidding strategy, personally.
Yeah.
It's my extended bidding strategy because you can't do it with eBay. eBay, it's like Snipe City. You're going to have to snipe it at the very end because I've tried other ways where I'm like, okay, I know what my snipe price is, and I'll go ahead and put it in 2 minutes before, and then I'll always lose.
Yeah.
So I just have to do a different strategy on eBay. But on extended bidding, if I'm there, if I'm not there, obviously I got to set it and forget it. But if I'm there and I really want this card, Joel, just know I'm on the other side waiting to beat you.
I'm very interested to see how, when we get this mesh of golden auctions and eBay, how this looks in the eBay format. Like, are we going to have extended bidding auctions on eBay? Which would be
Is Golden
very strange.
Site even going to be still alive? I'm not sure.
Yeah, a lot of unanswered questions at this point. But you would think that this is the opportunity to see some of this come together and see that format make its way to eBay. Maybe they'll have an eBay premiere type of thing event themselves, right? I could see that happening. But it'll be interesting. They'll change the strategy because, as you said, when you're talking, someone who only bids on eBay today may not understand your method there, right, of doing the slight increment bid above because there's a set end time. But when you're extended bidding, every bid you put on either extends it up the time, and then they see it. Not only are you trumping their bid, but you're also pushing the time back up to the top, right,
Exactly.
of the window of time.
But okay. And now here's another strategy you can do. And I use this strategy when the bidding windows are huge. Okay. I'll wait till the last minute of the bidding window and then I'll bid on top just to extend it. And then I'm thinking, you gonna stay up as late as me? I want to see if you're gonna stay up as late as me.
That's your West Coast advantage right there. Because to me, I'm getting so tired. You can beat out the East Coasters because you can be up. Your midnight is my 2 a.m.
Well, okay. Well, Joel, this brings me to an interesting insight. Okay, there's this thing going on. I think Heritage had those O-Pee-Chee case. Did you see it was sold for $5 million? Has a ton of Gretzky's, and like I saw this post of the guy that won it. I think he's a real estate guy, and he was talking about how he almost missed it because it was 1 in the morning. And man, I'm going to tell you honestly, I don't relate to that. I'm not the guy that you tell and say 1 a.m. you got to stay up to bid on the card. I'm the guy that you talk to and like, oh, a card is available only at 5:30 in the morning. I might be that son of a gun that wakes up at 5:20 in the morning to bid on the card.
Wow. Yeah. I used to be that guy. I can't do it anymore. I think I'm getting old.
I set alarms.
I just can't.
I set alarms, Joel, for everything. For everything. I'll probably driving my wife crazy, but I'm telling you, like, it's the only way. Like, I missed out on a KG Exquisite card the other day, and I was so mad. I was just like, oh, I've been waiting on this card for 2 years, and then I just missed out on it.
Yeah, I need to. I feel like I have some of my passion, but I feel like I used to have that next level passion that you show right now with like the waking up for certain bids and doing that avenue, and I would love to have that back again. I need that.
I feel like for those though, like usually it's eBay because it's a morning time. The extended bidding though is real intriguing. I would love to hear what other people have on their strategies of extended bidding. I gave you 2 of mine. If the large window, I'm gonna make you wait it out till early morning hours to see whether you're gonna win it or not. And I won't give it to the point where I'm like, we've already gone 8 or 9 rounds each. I'm not the guy to be like, oh, I'm going to bid 2 extra. I won't do that. I just, I don't know. Maybe it's my psychological thing. I think maybe I can beat you. I think by just waiting it out.
I think my strategy, and I think this is a common one, is looking at, okay, so I try to look at the mentality of anyone that might be bidding. And so say if you're bidding like 300 on a card, well, let's think about it this way. I want to think about, let's look at 1,000, right? Or
Okay.
100. So if the card is at 850, the next person might want, like, I like this card if it's under $1,000, right? And so they're willing to bid up to 970. If I immediately push them over that 1,000 barrier, then it's like they have this barrier of like, oh no, that card is too much at that point. But I feel like sometimes that amount, whether it's 975 or 1025, doesn't matter as much to me, and I'm willing to push it over just to make them feel uncomfortable that they don't want to push that bid.
That's a good point too. Yeah, I have caught myself doing that, but not regularly. But on an expensive card, like let's just say the card is valued around $3,000, and if I think I can, like, I want the card, and let's just say it's not selling as much as it used to, I'll like push it all up to past 2,500 so that they psychologically realize, well, I'm getting really close to the market value. I see what you're saying though. It's almost like if you go to Walmart, right? They want to put everything in 99 cents underneath it, and then they want to put $4.99. They don't want to put $5.
Right. Because all of a sudden it looks like too much once you go up past that next point. And it's all within our mind, right? Well, and I think there's definitely very much like the comp police, or people that are very much that live by the comp. And I think once you make them uncomfortable past the comp, if you truly want the card, that's when you can start being able to attain it, is once you start pushing it a little bit. And that's how prices actually start to move, right? We need people that are willing to push the comp. Otherwise, prices will never have positive trajectory.
I know. And I will say this though, like, I play that strategy on fixed though. Like if I want to list a card, $99 is, I know, a better appealing price than $100.
Yeah.
So I'll try to, list my card at $99. But then, if I'm just to attract more buyers. So I think it does change from auction to buy it now strategy. I think Definitely. it would be kind of cool though. I mean, could you just imagine? This would be freaking amazing. But let's just say you go into extended bidding and boom, all of a sudden, like, everyone has to agree to this before you get to extended bidding. Boom, all of a sudden, you see the FaceTime of all the bidders that are bidding on that extended bidding. And then you all get into and be like, and people can watch it. People can watch FaceTime, your reactions.
FaceTime on mute. You can't be able to talk.
Yeah, FaceTime on mute. FaceTime on mute, and be like, oh my god, these are the people that are bidding for this card. These are the people that we're trying to see who's going to win this card.
I mean, what you would see is you would see a lot of ugly angles like this of people's chins bidding like this, where you see like this double, triple chin.
Yeah. I think a lot more people are bidding on their phone than they are on the computer now.
Yeah.
I think it used to be reversed. I think a lot more people were doing computer, but I think as apps improve, bidding isn't like the bidding style. The buttons on the apps are improving. I'm starting to see a lot more people bid like on their phone.
Mm-hmm.
Do you bid on your phone more or your computer?
I think it depends how serious I am. I think when I'm kind of passively doing it, like I'll bid, or like say like I'm watching 90 Day Fiance with my wife, I'll be there like,
or do you need to see research while you're bidding?
I think it depends. I think with cards that I'm like interested in and I'm comfortable in a range, it's just more like, okay, let me throw a few bids in and see where this ends up. And I'll like, do I feel comfortable here? I'll do my quick check on comp. Like, that's when I'm more like in the comps. If I'm willing to push above the comp, then I might want to be at my computer and really feel like engaged, right? But if I'm like gonna do the comp game, like I'm willing to pay around the comp, then I'll just bid around that, and I'm not worried about it. If it goes over, then great. Hey, the market goes up. Thanks everyone for coming back and joining us on the short print. We hope to see you really soon. If you can, take a moment to hit that like, subscribe to the channel, and we hope to see you very soon. Thanks again.